morning, guys. The zombie's back. Oh, good Lord, he's on the air again. It's 7:37, actually 7:38 in the morning. It's a Sunday morning. It is the 24th of October, 2021. What was it, about an hour ago that we actually had an earthquake, or less than an hour ago, in the city of Los Angeles. At 3.6, right by Boyle Heights, underneath. 5 miles underneath, 5 to 10 miles. We have our local geologist, Dr. Lucy Jones, formerly from the USGS, and she's a go-to in Southern California when it comes down for earthquakes, especially when we had a lot of them. Back in the 80s, all the way through current, there was a couple of geologists we listened to extensively. Kate Hudson, so I don't know whatever happened to her. But Lucy Jones is native. She ain't living in California. She's embedded in California. I think she's the rock queen of California. Especially Southern California. She's more concerned about the flooding situations we will run into instead of the earthquake situations. Because the rain, we can see it coming over here, and then earthquakes we don't. Every time we've had an aftershock, every time we've had a foreshock, every time we've had a magnitude going on, that's at least a 3, 5, or above. Here comes Lucy Jones trying to explain and allay our fears left and right, trying to educate California and everybody else concerning about earthquakes. And the thing of it is, when you're a native Californian, you live along the fault line areas, especially when you're SoCal. SoCal natives are a little different. I say that because I'm a native. I've been born out in the city of Los Angeles area. And had to move out because the rent prices are way too damn high. But I'm still living in California. It's my home. And when you're living in home, you look at the earthquakes as their major nuisances sometimes. You get the smaller jolts, and then you get the larger ass jolts, and then you get the Mongo size every once in a great while. That'll shaken up your life and your direction of things, and it changes all hell. I mean, it changes everything else in all our ways. But the minor quakes I never worried about. The geologists usually worry about is every time we've had weather systems coming in, right after we've had fire destroying an area, it's always flood-prone areas that they're always worried about. Because there are certain areas that will have the soils exposed bare to where the plant life and trees were supposed to be holding in the moisture are no longer there. And therefore, we have runoff like crazy. So if there's going to be any impact on human activity, the geologists are going crazy on that one. And especially since we've got a storm system coming in, coming down the slot, as we call it, down the California coastline. Now we know it's going to be hitting us either tonight or tomorrow. And the geologists are worried about whether or not certain sections of California are going to be inundated or not, and how it's going to be affecting our ground. The one thing that we're not worried about at this point is any earth movements or any sudden earth movements, because there's no way for us to protect them. But we see the storms and we're like, no problem. We don't know if one storm is going to be dumping on our state or in our little areas more so than any other areas. We see some of the activity, and if we actually see some heavy-duty downpours coming through, then our geologists and natives are going, okay, well, there's going to be certain areas we're going to be avoiding the flash flooding. And every time there's a little bit of an earthquake, 3.6 to 3.9, maybe a 4-pointer, something to catch our attention, okay, well then, we'll be talking about it for hours on end. Until it's done with, until the story is dead. We did beat the horse to death. We turned the horse into glue, into stew, into something else. The horse is gone. The horse being the subtopic of the earthquake. But anything else, forget it. Everything else is open season right now. I just wanted to relay this information to you folks that when it comes down for our seasons out here, we have fire, floods, earthquakes, and riots. We haven't had enough of a riot situation just yet to qualify for another season. We have had plenty of quakes. Well, maybe not as much. Fires, and floods. We've had landslides. So, this is the kind of season we're looking for in Southern California. Growing up and trying to tell newcomers coming into the state of California as a young, smart-ass teenager to an adult, I kept telling them that, do you have a gas mask coming in here? Do you have a Kevlar armor? And the other last will and testament. I kept thinking California was a shootout of OK Corral. Simply put, that's how we treated our entire state, is the OK Corral. We're borrowing it from Arizona, or actually one of those states. Arizona, I think. But we're borrowing that. Because back in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, I'm hearing shootouts left and right happening, gang festations over here, shootout over here, shootout over here. County of Los Angeles, County of Orange County, even bits and parts of Ventura, but mostly in LA, we were at a shootout center. It just, there's no end to it. And concerning about the air quality during that time, was before we actually established our air quality management districts. I say districts because there are certain districts that are happening up in the Antelope Valley area, in Southern California, and in different parts of California. So we actually do have air quality control. And we actually had laws established so we can actually breathe for a change. Because when I said something about the gas masks, I'm telling them about smugglers that we've had over here, where the air quality was so damn bad, we had to wear, the joke was we had to wear gas masks. I wish to God, I wish I had respirators during those times, just to prove the point. But I would have proven the point too. Imagine carrying this damn thing to school. Painter's respirator, right? But it still gives you a clean enough air to breathe out of as long as you keep changing the pads on here. Now, okay, you're saying, how is that getting past the earthquake situation? Well, as I said before, we had seasons. Fires, floods, earthquakes, and riots. Riots because of human behavior at this point over here, whether or not they like something or not, and all hell breaks loose. The fires are from either man-made or from nature-made. Take a choice. The floods, they got no choice. Doesn't matter who made the damn fire, made the landscape enough where we're going to have areas turn into rivers. It just is. So now we got to deal with that one. But all of our seasons that we have over here are not winter time where we actually see snow, except maybe once in a great while in mountainsides. We actually do have some rain coming through, and we actually have some cold weather, and then we have some ski season. Or try having part of our area in the Antelope Valley turn into a winter wonderland, where we actually have the air temperature about 20 to 30 degrees. It's holding moisture, and the moisture is not evaporating or turning into something else. It just lays there like snow. And I've had days like that. I've rarely had days like that out here in the Antelope Valley since moving here. It was so beautiful to see, so treacherous to drive through. You know, the accidents we've had during that time. And every time we do have major rainstorms, doesn't matter which particular generation is driving the damn cars. We're always having accidents because we never know how to fucking drive these damn things right. Screw the language. But that's how it is. Earthquakes are a different story altogether. Earthquakes are the intermediate and sneaky sons of bitches that we have to deal with in California. The active fault line, more active fault line, would be up in Alaska, South America, maybe Mexico area, Tokyo. A little bit of Indonesia. If they got volcanism going on, if they got volcanoes blowing off their topics, you know we got earthquakes. Yeah, in Tokyo, they haven't had the volcanoes blowing off, but they did have some shifting of their plates underneath. So yes, they get them quite frequently over there. And so does Alaska. They'll get a volcano or two blowing off its steam. But we do get some shifting of the plates up there as well. Not to mention New Mexico and Central America. Which makes the question, how come we don't have enough of that action out here in California? I don't know. Maybe somebody likes California better than anything else. What's so special about our state? I don't know, to tell you the truth. And I'm still waiting for it to happen. Meanwhile, a little bit of an explanation coming from a smart-ass Southern California native. When you're coming into California, all seriousness, it is advisable, just in case, that if we actually have any fire situations happening, if we actually have any flooding situations happening, you pay attention to what the hell's going on around you. You also have to have emergency supplies in your car if you're coming by car. If you're coming on foot, well, a small knapsack would help you out a little bit. Of course, the emergency agencies will tell you what to look for and what to put into your back concerning about how to survive a California quake. Stay the hell away from buildings. Don't run into them. And watch the ground as well. Also watch around you. You're going to have fire, you're going to have poles dropping down like crazy on some occasions. If the quake is large enough. If it's just like a small minor shake, won't do a damn thing. Except rattle your nerves. At least up for your nerves. If we do get into a major earthquake situation, you're going to have to make sure that you're going to be having enough supplies to last you for maybe 2 or 3 days, if not hours. And don't be surprised if anybody is going to be coming up on you asking for supplies from you because they don't have anything to have. Don't be surprised if people are trying to get you out of a rubble. When it comes down for air quality, we haven't had that much problem with the air quality. Unless, of course, we still have massive fires burning up every other piece of forest and chaparral around. Every piece of dried up plant life is destroyed. And then after that, you'll be needing one of these respirators. But you're going to be needing one of these respirators after when you deal with about a 6 or a 7, or actually a 5 to, let's see, about a 5.5 to a 6.7. Yeah, that'll shake it up. There are certain hillsides that we actually have over here that have the undisturbed microbes. It caused what we call valley fever. Back in 1994, that was when they discovered the valley fever. We didn't know what the hell kind of sickness or illness was happening during 1971. We didn't realize when the Selma earthquake hit that the mountainsides had shaken a bit, and disturbed microbes that were living in there happily got airborne. Tried to find different places to nest, and nested it in people's lungs. And that's the thing we have to watch out for. Because in 1994 is when the valley fever was officially coined. We had the microbes coming from the ground up, being shaken apart on videos when they're showing the mountains and they're having aftershocks. You can see the dust flying in the air. You can see the dust clouds covering the surface of the area. It's during that time we're thinking, oh shit, not again. Because it had put a lot of people in the hospital. They pumped in a lot of antibiotics trying to get rid of that thing. So we really have to be careful about that. Shoes are the most important things as well. Shoes. I kid you not. I'm not talking about sandals. I'm talking about shoes. I'm talking about tennis shoes. Rugged bottoms. Not too worn, not too old. Because you're going to need the comfortable shoes to get around places, especially when they've got pointy things sticking up and they're going to be slicing right into your damn skin without any protection. I'm not telling you to go out there and get some heavy-duty work shoes or steel toes or anything else like that. No, just tennis shoes would work. Just make sure that you're careful where you're walking at. Flashlights will be needed during the nighttime. The cranked up kind are the best ones. You generate your little power just to generate the light. Of course, if you're cheap enough, get the battery-powered lights out there, or use your phone sparingly when it comes out for the flashlight app. I'm saying this because I've gone through this. Well, we had the Ridgecrest. We lost power for a couple of times, but it came back up again. When Edison came out and started doing their power cutoffs in different sections, we had them shut off for a while and then back up again. So I had to rely on different pieces of technology and not pieces of technology to keep my sanity going. So if you have your cell phones with you, a small charging cord, and about 2 or 3 chargers with you. I'm not talking about the wall-in chargers. I mean, you would have those with you as well, in case you run into an area where it actually does have power. But the rest of the time, batteries. Plug in right into your phone. So it gives it enough juice for maybe half a day, if you're lucky, if you're not using it all up. A 3-point, or 3.5 or 3.6 to nearly 4 will scare the living crap out of people. They will scare the hell out of your animals. You got your animals with you and you're traveling here. Make sure that you've got plenty of identification with them, that you have photos for them, of them, that you have their vaccination records saved on your phones or something like that. You think I'm kidding? I can't tell you how many times people keep losing their dogs even without the natural disasters hitting. And we have to keep asking each other, is your pet scanned? Is your pet chipped? Which means if there's a nice tiny microchip in there broadcasting information, that once we put an IVR right over it, we can read it and then figure out if this dog is actually yours or somebody else's. I'm not kidding about this one. We got too many damn animals running around in the state, let alone beyond the state. And then we've got the wild animals to contend with. Oh, this gets better and better. This gets better and better. We have rattlesnakes and scorpions. We have different types of rattlesnakes out there. Living in the deep desert, they'll move up. They'll move into the homelands if they have to, if they need to get some food or something. We've got coyotes wandering around the place. We've got mountain lions wandering around all over the place. Some of them are tagged and others aren't. You have to watch out for those. This is a state that we actually like wildlife. We respect wildlife as much as we can. At least for some of us anyway. The rest of us would like to get rid of all of them so we can have the whole state populated with human activity. Problem is, we're killing the state and we're killing everything else around us. So that's not going to happen. But that's just for a visitor coming over to the state of California, just for a day or two is one thing. I'm saying if you're going to be coming over here for a little bit longer than that, make sure you're properly prepared for it. Read up on it. Read up on the warnings that the official government sites give you, about the emergency sites give you, about the things you might need to carry in here. Even a pocket size or a small container about this size of a first aid kit, they'll help you out on some occasions. Trust me, that. And I'm not talking about carrying the masks all the time. Even though in this COVID environment, yes, carry your masks, wear them if you have to. Other than that, welcome to the state of California. Now, how long were you going to plan on staying here?